The Bears are in the middle of week 3 of OTAs, and the Bears' young defense is really starting to emerge. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears offseason update video, which I'll be doing anytime the Chicago Bears news going on. So subscribe to my channel if you guys want all my thoughts and my reactions on the Chicago Bears news. But yeah, I have another OTA video for you guys. Again, OTAs are going on right now. It's actually the final week of OTAs this week. The media is only there once per week, so we're not getting too many updates on these practices because the Bears don't post much about what happened in practice. We only know about what happened from the media's tweets and their videos. So not too many reports coming out of these practices, but we do have training camp coming up in about 2 months, which training camp is open to the public, many days, and there obviously we're going to have much more reports. But let's get into today's video and talk about what happened in OTAs today, okay? So the first story I do want to talk about, the major storyline out of practice today, was that the defense definitely made a lot of plays today. It was a better day for the Bears defense than it was for the Bears offense, which I do like to see because the last few practices we've been getting reports about the Bears offense really winning the day, but today it seemed like the defense did get a lot of highlight plays. So according to Nicholas Moriano, he said that in 7-on-7s, Justin Fields had his pass tipped by TJ Edwards, our new linebacker signing, and it was intercepted by Elijah Hicks in the middle of the field. If you guys remember a couple weeks ago, our other linebacker signing, Tremaine Edmonds, actually had an interception, a pick six, going up against PJ Walker. So we're already getting the new linebacker signings, two of our biggest signings of the offseason, making big plays in camp, which you love to see that, okay? Because these guys were signed here for a reason. We gave them this much money for a reason because they're expected to change the middle of this defense, being the linebackers on the inside. And in this Eberflus 4-3 scheme, the linebackers are really important, maybe more important than they are in other schemes. So getting two high-level linebackers that played among the best in the NFL last year at their positions. Okay, both TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds graded as top 10 linebackers according to PFF. I mean, that's a tremendous thing for the inside of this Bears defense. Okay, improving that pass coverage in the middle, it's going to be huge getting these linebackers in here. And also, obviously, against the run, these guys are going to be upgrades over what we had last year too. So really good to see, TJ Edwards already getting his hands on the ball, and then, the second year safety, Elijah Hicks, getting his hands on the ball as well and actually getting the interception to make it go the other way. The hits principles clearly making a big impact in camp. I want to stick with the defense and then talk about Jaquan Brisker as well, which according to Nicholas Moriano, he also had a good play in coverage. He was in tight coverage against Cole Kmet in 7-on-7s, and Fields fired the pass towards the flat on the right side, but Kmet cannot hang on to the ball, which, obviously you would think that that's good coverage by Jaquan Brisker. Again, not too much video coming out of these practices, so I wish we could kind of put video on the screen right now too so you guys could see exactly what happened. But man, Jaquan Brisker, it's going to be a big year for him as well, because you guys remember last year, he actually had a good start to the year. I would say his first 7-8 games of the year were actually really fantastic. He was actually one of the better safeties in the league in coverage, but then down the road last year, the second half of the year, he kind of hit that rookie wall and regressed and, missed a lot of tackles too. So I think having a full NFL offseason is going to be huge for Jaquan Brisker because he's going to be able to be conditioned to the NFL level and also have more time in this defense, just more time studying this defense, more practice in this defense. I mean, practice always is helpful. It's always beneficial. That's why you see veterans usually play better than rookies. So I am expecting a big year out of Jaquan Brisker because he was one of the guys I was highest on out of the draft, last year after I saw what he did in training camp and in the preseason. So this really could be your enforcer back there in the secondary because he's one of the guys that hits the hardest. He's a guy that likes to get his hands on the ball, be physical as well, make plays against the run. And we saw a little bit of that last year, but I want to see a lot more of that this year in year 2. So really big year for Jaquan Brisker. I hope he does great things for us. But going to the next story then, also sticking on the defense, I want to talk about the Jalen Johnson situation, which I talked about last week, him missing OTAs the last 2 weeks of practices, but he actually showed up to practice this week, and everything is completely fine, guys. There was nothing to worry about in the first place. So according to Jalen Johnson, the contract situation was not why he missed practice. He actually missed practice because he wanted to spend more time with his daughter and also raise some money for his charities. So when asked about all that, he said that not even close, know anybody who knows me. That's not my character. I think at the end of the day, for me, I would not even say holding out, just having prior priorities. Everybody knows I have a 3-year-old daughter back at home in California, and I'm a dad before I'm anything else. Before I'm a football player, before I'm anything, I am a dad first, which totally understandable. I mean, especially raising money for charity and spending time with your daughter. I mean, you can't say anything bad against that. I mean, salute to Jalen Johnson for, taking care of his family and also raising money for charitable causes, and he only missed, a couple OTAs, which is not going to make a big difference in if we're going to win a Super Bowl or not this year. So it was never that big of a deal to begin with. I think that us Bears fans talked about it a lot because it's June. We have nothing else to talk about. We have no other football news to discuss, so we're kind of making stuff out of nothing, but not a big deal whatsoever. He also said later on that he's looking forward to staying with and extending with the Bears, which, you're going to have to wait and see about that. Obviously, the money has to work for both sides, but that's a pretty optimistic outlook on his future, okay? That he does want to be here, that, I'm sure that Ryan Poles wants him here too. And if we can get, a good deal for both sides, he could be in Chicago for many, many more years to come, which is the preferable outcome for us Bears fans because Jalen Johnson is that good. So good to see all that is, that's not a problem, the whole Jalen Johnson thing. Also, Nate Davis showed up to practice today as well. So now we have everybody that is healthy enough to play right now. They're on the football field, which is really good for being voluntary OTAs. It's still voluntary this week, but Nate Davis and Jalen Johnson did show up for the final week of voluntary OTAs, which you love to see because around the league, there's many teams that don't have guys showing up to these voluntary OTAs, but our guys clearly do understand that we have a lot to work on right now because we were the worst team in football last year. So I'm happy that they are here in camp this early. But going to the other side of the ball now, I do want to talk about Justin Fields because him and DJ Moore, man, have had an instant connection right from the time they started practicing together. Okay, so again, today he had a completion to DJ Moore going against Jalen Johnson this time. So no scrub cornerback. DJ Moore beat Jalen Johnson. Justin Fields delivered a nice ball to him in the middle of the field. Really love that. And then Jaquan Brisker also talked about the chemistry that Justin Fields and DJ Moore already have going on. I'll put that video on the screen right now so you guys can listen to it.
They got that chemistry going very fast, earlier than I expected. They look good though. They look like they best friends. Justin definitely throwing him the ball. Tu's getting the ball for sure, no doubt. So Justin looks good though. He's going through his progressions. He's looking very smooth, making good decisions out there, looking like best quarterback, in the NFL. I thought that last year, but this year it's different for sure. One looked different, and him and two, you gonna see. You will see.
If that doesn't make you really excited as a Bears fan, nothing else will. I mean, seeing one of your guys, Jaquan Brisker, praising the quarterback and the receiver this much, I know that all teammates are gonna hype up their players, but I'm telling you guys, it feels a little bit different this time around because we actually have the play on the field to back it up. I mean, right now in practice, they're actually making really cool plays, which they weren't making last year. So we actually do have something to, talk about and hype up. And Luke Getsy also talked about, how focused Justin Fields is right now. He said that Justin Fields is someone that's super focused, works his tail off in every aspect of it. The types of conversations we're having right now in that room, we're really on a different level than we were last year as far as where we can go with this growth, which is natural. I mean, he's in year 2 of the system now, when last year he was just learning it in camp in OTAs. So obviously he's going to be much more progressed, much more developed in the system than he was at this point last year. And that's why you can expect, hopefully, a breakout year from him as a passer. All the signs in OTAs so far are pointing to that fact that he is going to hopefully explode for above 3,500 passing yards. I know to some that might be too optimistic, but I think that Justin Fields is capable of doing just that and maybe even getting 4K plus with these weapons that we have, and if the offensive line actually can hold up in pass protection. I know it will be a big jump going from what do you have last year, like 2,300 passing yards, something like that, going all the way up to 3,500 or even more, but it is possible based on what we saw out of him at Ohio State when he actually had a good supporting cast around him like he does now, I think, with the Chicago Bears. Again, it's all on paper right now. We're not going to know until the games actually start, but there's many reasons to be optimistic right now as a Bears fan about this offense. And then lastly, I do want to talk about Eddie Jackson, end this video off by talking about Eddie Jackson because he is back in practice. If you guys remember last year, he suffered a Lisfranc injury, a foot injury, which is pretty serious at the end of last year in that Jets game. But according to Matt Eberflus, he's worked his tail off to get back to where he is now, and he's fully healthy in practice. He's doing practice just like normal, which love to see that. I mean, Eddie Jackson is a leader on this team, the oldest guy on this team, I think, at least on the defense. I can't think of any guys on the defense that are older than him because he's been here for so long and we have so many young guys now on that side of the ball. So he is going to be an important voice in the locker room for these young guys, a guy that guys can look up to, a guy that Jaquan Brisker also can look up to because he can learn a lot about how well Eddie Jackson played in coverage last year and, the plays he makes on the ball as well, which we haven't seen too many of since since 2018, but maybe they're going to be coming back next year because we saw a glimpse of how good he can actually be in this Eberflus defense. So good to see Eddie Jackson back healthy. But yeah, guys, that basically wraps up all the reports from today. I'll have more videos out for you guys in the coming weeks talking about random Bears topics and other news updates if we get any. Hopefully we do sign an edge rusher because we still have a big need at edge. But leave your comments down below, guys. As always, bear down.